You're back with us for another deep dive, and this time we're really getting into the shadows. Deeper secrets, more insidious stuff, and, well, a substance unlike anything else.
That's right. You sent us towards Apocrypha, and yeah, it's definitely a key chapter. Lots of conspiracy, decades of it.
Exactly. And the sources you provided, we've got plot breakdowns, some production insights, even how it was first received.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to really unpack this episode.
Figure out its significance, in the bigger picture, and maybe uncover some of those fascinating little details behind making it.
And just to set the scene, especially if maybe you're jumping in here, this follows right on the heels of Piper Maru. We're still dealing with that really weird, dangerous black oil.
The mind-altering stuff, yeah. And the hunt is definitely still on for anyone connected to it.
So let's get into the story itself, Apocrypha. Where does it kick off?
Well, it starts with this really powerful flashback, doesn't it? Throws us right back to 1953.
Right, the submarine, the Zeus Faber, super claustrophobic. And there's this dying sailor.
Yeah, he's recounting this terrifying experience. His captain was infected by the black oil, the crew trapped, just this creeping horror unfolding in silence.
And the really striking thing, looking back, is who's listening to this debriefing? You've got a young Bill Mulder.
Mulder's dad. You can already see that quest for truth starting.
And sitting right there with him. The cigarette-smoking man. Even back then.
It's quite a reveal. And the sailor, he's practically begging for the truth to come out,
But the CSM, he just gives that chilling line. You can trust all of us. The irony is just dripping off that, knowing what comes later.
Oh, absolutely. It perfectly sets up the whole theme of deeply embedded deception right from the start. Then boom, we're back in the present day.
And things immediately go sideways for Mulder and Krychek, don't they? They're just trying to get back.
And they get ambushed, straight up attacked on the road. But then the weirdest thing happens with Krychek.
Yeah. This blinding flash of light comes out of him, and it incapacitates their attackers. What was that all about?
Well, it really confirms Mulder's suspicions, doesn't it? That Krychek isn't just Krychek anymore, he's infected.
And the CSM's reaction tells you everything. He doesn't want questions, he just wants those attackers. Gone. Destroyed. While they're still alive, even.
Ruthless.
Total ruthlessness. Shows how high the stakes are, how desperate they are to keep this contained. Meanwhile, Mulder's recovering.
But Scully's investigation takes this really sharp personal turn. She's chasing down Skinner's shooter, this guy Lewis Cardinal.
And the DNA results come back. It's a bombshell. He's got the same genetic signature as the man who killed her sister, Melissa.
Man, it just keeps getting closer and closer to home for her, doesn't it? The conspiracy isn't just out there, it's tied to her deepest loss.
Exactly. And then Skinner, when he sees Cardinal, he recognizes him. Says he was with Krychek when the digital tape was stolen.
Ah, okay. So the pieces are starting to connect. It all loops back to Krychek and that missing tape.
Which leads to Mulder's theory. He's convinced the black oil isn't just, goo. He thinks it's an alien transfer medium, like a way for something else to travel or possess someone. And Krychek is its host now.
That's Mulder's thinking. And that digital tape becomes the big MacGuffin, the key everyone's after.
Cue the lone gunmen. Do their usual sneaky stuff, but this time at a nice rink.
Haha, yeah, only the gunmen. They're trying to retrieve the tape, but all they find is an empty case. The mystery just deepens.
And then we see Krychek, clearly not himself, making a deal with the devil.
Right. He trades the tape, or maybe the knowledge on the tape, to the cigarette-smoking man.
And what does he get in return? The location of a recovered UFO.
It's a massive reveal. Shows the alien tech is real, it's here, and the CSM has access, using it as leverage.
But Mulder, he doesn't give up on that tape case. He finds something, doesn't he?
Yeah, classic Mulder move. Rubs a pencil over the envelope. Finds a hidden phone number.
Which leads him where? Straight to the syndicate.
He arranges that clandestine meeting with the well-manicured man. Always so. Poised.
And what does he reveal? More layers to this whole thing.
Oh, yeah. He talks about a UFO that crashed or was sunk way back during World War II, and the cover story they cooked up involved a downed atomic bomb. Just decades of lies.
And then he gives Mulder that warning, that really chilling warning.
Anyone can be gotten to. It's a reminder of just how powerful and far-reaching the syndicate really is. Nobody's safe.
Meanwhile, Scully finally catches up to Cardinal. She corners him.
And he starts making claims about Krychek, says he can tell her things. It's another dangerous twist.
But Scully, she has him dead to rights. The man linked to her sister's death, and she chooses not to shoot.
It says so much about her, doesn't it? Her commitment to the process, to justice, even when it's intensely personal.
Definitely. But all these threads converge, don't they? At that abandoned missile silo. North Dakota.
Yeah, the big climax. Mulder and Scully sneak in trying to find answers.
Only to get captured by CSM's goons, naturally.
And then comes that really, really disturbing scene. Krychek, suspended above this recovered UFO.
Oh, God, yeah. And the black oil just pours out of him, violently expelled, flowing onto the craft. It's horrifying.
It really is a visceral image of that parasitic connection, and then the CSM just leaves them there.
Trapped inside the silo. Cold doesn't even begin to cover it.
Just utterly ruthless, a pawn sacrificed without a second thought.
So the episode ends, and where are we? Skinner's recovering, thankfully.
But Cardinal,
Yeah.
he conveniently dies in custody, loose ends tied up.
And Krycek is just stuck down there in the dark. A pretty bleak ending for him.
It really is. A grim fate for a character who always walked that dangerous line, which actually is a good transition. Let's talk about what went on behind the camera.
Yeah. The fun facts, the behind-the-scenes stuff. Always love this part. It adds another layer, doesn't it? Almost like its own Apocrypha.
Yeah. Good one. Well, first off, Kim Manners directed this one. He'd done standalones before. Good ones.
Right, but this is his first crack at a big mythology episode, wasn't it?
Exactly. Apocrypha was his debut directing one of the core Math Arc episodes. Pretty significant, considering his impact on the show later on.
Definitely. And speaking of impacts, that black oil effect. Apparently that wasn't easy to nail down.
Oh, not at all. The story goes, the effects team first tried using, get this, magnetic fluid. Like ferrofluid.
Seriously, that stuff you see in, like, science demos, that could have looked, well, maybe a bit funny.
Apparently it did. So to get that really creepy, viscous, flowing look, they actually rebuilt part of the submarine set.
The 1953 one.
Yeah, so it could physically tilt. They used some kind of specific liquid, let gravity do the work, and then enhanced it digitally.
Wow, that's a lot of effort for an effect. But it paid off. It looks amazing.
It really does. But speaking of difficult effects,
Yeah.
poor Nicholas Leah Krychek, that scene where the oil leaves him.
Oh, yeah, in the silo. Looked intense.
Apparently, it was incredibly uncomfortable to film. He had to wear this mask contraption with tubes running out of his nose and mouth for the oil effect.
Ugh, sounds awful. Like prosthetics and goo combined.
Pretty much. And I heard they even had to reshoot parts of it because it was so tricky to get right and, well, probably pretty miserable for him.
You got to appreciate the actor's commitment. And what about the silo itself? That huge underground space looked incredible. Was it all real?
Not entirely. That's the magic of TV, right? They built a partial set, mainly around the UFO prop itself.
Practical limitations. Budget, time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they used digital effects, CGI, to basically extend the set, made it look like this vast, sprawling, derelict facility, both inside and out. Pretty seamless work, really.
It really is. You totally buy it. And the title itself, Apocrypha. There's meaning there, obviously.
Yeah, it refers to, hidden texts, writings of uncertain authenticity, often excluded from the main canon.
Which fits perfectly with the show's themes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hidden truths, suppressed information, government conspiracies.
Precisely. Chris Carter, the creator, felt it really captured that essence. I remember that flashback, the black and white 1953 scene.
With young Bill Mulder and the CSM. Yeah, super atmospheric.
Well, that specific image, that scene, was something Chris Carter said he'd had in his head since the very beginning of the show.
Wow. So it wasn't just cooked up for this episode, it was a foundational piece he wanted to reveal.
Seems like it. A really crucial glimpse into the deep history of the mythology, planting those seeds early on.
That's fascinating. It shows how much planning went into the long game, and clearly this episode resonated. It did well, right?
Oh yeah, big time. It pulled in almost 17 million viewers when it first aired. Huge numbers, got great Nielsen ratings.
And the critics liked it too.
Generally, yeah, it was praised for moving the story forward, for the suspense, and definitely for those visual effects we've been talking about. It cemented its place as a really key mythology episode.
You can see why. It packs a lot in. So, thinking about the bigger picture, what does Apocrypha really tell us? What are the main takeaways?
Well, fundamentally, it's a huge piece of the mythology puzzle. It gives us more on the black oil, how it operates, its connection to the syndicate.
And it definitely shows more of the syndicate's ruthlessness, their methods. The cover-up runs deep.
Absolutely. And the whole alien presence thing, the sunken UFO, it confirms that this conspiracy has roots going way, way back. Decades, at least.
Plus, like we touched on, the personal stakes get ramped up significantly.
Yeah.
Especially for Scully.
Right. That link between Cardinal and Melissa's murder makes it incredibly personal for her. It's not just abstract anymore. It's hit home in the worst way.
And it really solidifies the cigarette-smoking man's role, doesn't it? He's not just lurking. He's actively manipulating events, making these cold, calculated moves.
Leaving Krycek trapped is maybe one of his coldest moments up to that point. It shows his absolute lack of, well, anything resembling empathy when the agenda is threatened.
So wrapping this up for anyone listening, what's the lasting impression of Apocrypha?
I think it's that sense of uncovering hidden layers. Apocrypha really functions like one of those secret texts its title refers to. It reveals crucial information about the oil, the syndicate, the long history.
And knowing the behind-the-scenes stuff, the effort involved, just adds another layer of appreciation, I think. They really worked to bring this complex, dark vision to life.
Definitely. So hopefully everyone listening feels like they have a richer understanding now of this specific episode, why it matters, how it was made, and where it fits in the grand scheme of the X-Files.
Yeah. Hopefully we've shed some light on the intrigue, which actually leaves us with a final thought to chew on.
Okay.
Given everything we see in Apocrypha, the hidden information, the manipulation, the decades of cover-ups, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Wonder what?
What other stories, what other accepted truths, maybe even in our own world, might have their own hidden Apocrypha, their own suppressed narratives waiting beneath the surface?
That's a pretty unsettling thought to end on.
It is. Something to think about. Until our next deep dive, keep looking, keep questioning.